This is my controversial take on why scales and arpeggios aren't as valuable as people say they are. The longer I've played the guitar for, the more people I've taught, the less value I've seen in them. The main reason people say you should be diligently practicing your scales and arpeggios in your bedroom would be technique, learning your way around the guitar neck, and of course, music theory. So let's go into each one of these individually so you can see what you could be doing to push forward your guitar playing, because let's face it, how many of us genuinely get up in the morning saying, oh, I can't wait to play another scale? No, we're playing the guitar to enjoy it, we're playing it to play the pieces we love, and we want to get to that level of skill as quickly as possible. Let's show you how. Number one, looking at your technique. Your technique is going to need very specific things to help it improve, because where you're at the moment isn't where you were a few months ago. You're going to have very specific ideas you want to get in place to push your technique forward. This is exactly why etudes, studies have been written so that you can have pieces of music that you're going to enjoy playing that are going to hone in on these specific techniques. For instance, if you look at some of the tremolo pieces, this is going to be focusing entirely on getting the tone, getting the tremolo moving. The whole piece is based on that. It's themed in a way that you're going to learn what you want from it. It doesn't have to be a etude or a study that you're playing. You could pick any piece that you love that focuses around this kind of idea. I have a list of pieces that I play that I absolutely love playing, and I use them to get my technique where I want it to go. I don't need to be getting bored with scales and arpeggios. Point number two is learning your way around the guitar neck. Now, absolutely we want a good knowledge of the guitar neck so we can use it in everything we're playing. But where we see the difference here is I see lots of people who would learn tons of different scales and arpeggios that come to me having done all of the different shapes. But then when they try and improvise the exact area where you would think scales would be the most applicable, it's one of two things. Either they've played the pattern back and forth and they haven't genuinely learned what the notes are, or they are stuck in patterns, they're stuck in shapes, so they can't choose the notes they want to play. It's just dictated by the next note of the scale. This is where, if you've tried improvising, you might be stuck in just the standard, running up and down some patterns and shapes. You get a bit bored with it because you can't get creative with it. Scales can really get you stuck in a box, a pattern of what to do. It dictates the next note, and I spend a lot of time working with people trying to break away from this. So, what could you do instead to learn your way across the neck without tying yourself down into these boxes that you'll struggle to break out of later? What I did is I found some pieces that I love the sound of, rock songs, pop songs, whatever it happens to be, that you just grew up with, you like them. Find out their key. All you need to do is Google the song's name and the word key afterwards. Generally, it'll turn up with what the key is. That you can then use to improvise with the song. If you're improvising with the song you love, you can do it any way you want on the neck. While you're playing through the song, you're experimenting with different patterns, you're going through different shapes, you're learning the melody they're playing, or you're just playing notes on top of it. When you're improvising, and I'll do a bunch of videos on improvising completely separately to break everything down there, when you're improvising, as long as you're in the right key, the notes are going to fit absolutely fine. So you're free to explore the neck, you're free to widen your knowledge of the whole map without being tied down to a specific shape or pattern. And point number three is going to be music theory and learning and understanding the theory behind what you're playing. Now, I agree, you can't learn theory 100% from a book. That'll be like only reading the highway code but never actually driving. It's not going to work. But then, scales and arpeggios aren't the pieces you're going to be playing, which means you're kind of learning the highway code and then just reversing backwards and forwards in a parking lot. You haven't learned anything about the road that you're on. If, on the flip side, we break down music that you're playing and you look at the theory and the musicality behind the music that you enjoy, the music you want to play, yes, you can absolutely learn music theory without needing to do it in a scale or in an arpeggio. These are the three most common points that come up all the time when talking about scales and arpeggios and what you learn from them, but each one of these, I don't see how you can't learn the same thing in a more fun and more efficient way somewhere else. Is this to say you should completely ignore scales and arpeggios, no, I don't see any harm in learning a handful of them, getting your hand around a few of them around the neck. I just don't see them as the vehicle that people say you should be practicing all the time, warming up with, whatever it is to improve your playing. But my biggest bugbear when it comes to playing through scales is the one consistency in every type of music, every genre, every age, every style, whether it's 1,000 years ago or if it's right now today, is a dissonant note that's slightly outside the harmony. Maybe not dissonant, but a bit of tension in it. It'll have a pull back into the harmony, either coming back down or pushing up into the harmony. You'll hear this if I play a bit of a blues section. That note, that blue note there, wants to drop back down into the harmony. And if you have that tension in the music, and if you're going either with giving the tension or by pushing that tension there and holding it, this is what's going to draw in your audience. This is what's going to get people interested. On the flip side, scales and arpeggios just butcher their way up one note at a time and down one note at a time and completely ignore what the note wants to do, what the character of the note is, what the tensions are in the note. Scale just means ladder in Latin. Go up the ladder, come back down again. I see this constantly making people's ears worse when it comes to music because you aren't hearing what the notes are and what they're trying to do, and you're not being able to make a decision on, when you can hear this, what you want to then shape the music as. That would be my biggest bugbear when it comes to scales and arpeggios. So, controversial take. Yes, I can see a ton of comments coming in already saying, absolutely not, scales do an amazing thing. If they're improving your playing, if you don't want to change that, absolutely keep doing it. But if you've been hearing people talk about scales and arpeggios, do them for an hour a day, and you've been playing them thinking, oh, this just isn't what I want, there's another way of doing it, we can improve your playing without having to do tons of different scales and arpeggio shapes. I never enjoyed them. I am absolutely sure there are many people out there who feel the same way as I do. So, if you have an opinion on this, put it in the comments. If it's insulting it, or if you're saying, yes, I absolutely agree, I feel the same way, I'd love to hear the conversation. I'd love to hear the different points. Also, if you want to see more videos, more ideas from me about guitar, technique, musicality, anything in that area, the more you engage, the more it allows the channel to get out, the more I can do. So, like, comment, subscribe, all of the good stuff. And if you want to check out another controversial video on the guitar, check this one out where I talk about thumb hooking on the neck. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. It is in this video, so I will see you in there.